On my bench I've got a nice big plastic sheet for protection. I've got gloves, I like to double glove, some stirrers and mixers, measurers, a bowl for the grout and a few rags for wiping off. Do read the label on the outside of your packet to make sure your grout choice is fit for purpose. So I always go for something that does wide spaces and one that is waterproof. That means it already has polymers in it and I don't need to worry about it. Brilliant. All grouts are different, so it's really important for you to read the instructions, because what I'm going to be doing through this video is using this particular grout, and it's very different to what you get at Bunnings. I love it. Do wear a mask whenever there's dust around, grout dust, because you don't want that to get into your lungs and you do need to protect them. So during the stirring process, once it's stirred, you can take it off because there's no dust happening. Now I always double glove because the water gets through here, so when I wash these gloves, I don't want my hands to end up black because of the black water. So it's dead easy. I like these gardening gloves. They're really cheap from ALDI and rubber with a texture on them, and they're great for rubbing in. I like to massage the grout in. Oh, I've got two right-hand gloves. I'll just go get another. So both gloves are ready. This has been mixed and it's sitting its 2 minutes as per the manufacturer's instructions, which are really important because all grouts are different. I don't need to add any grout enhancers to this one because it comes with it. It does spaces from 2 to 20 mil, so just perfect. It's a fairly dry mix. If it's too runny, it'll take ages and make a terrible mess. And it's really as I said, about the same mix as recommended by the manufacturer. So I'll do this bit here so you can see how the ball chain is dealt with. And you can see I give it very special treatment. Not. So spoonful out a chunk and then really get into it and massage the grout into all the spaces. Because if it doesn't get into the spaces, it'll just fall out. Because it's not an adhesive, it's just a filler, if you like, for want of a better word. It lives to fill in spaces. So if there's a space, it's finding it. And people who do glass on glass know all about that. Because it's very good at seeking out those spaces. This particular grout is that it sets much more quickly. And I tend to worry my grout off. I think people who have been following me for a while know that grouting is my nemesis. I try hard and I get better, a little tiny bit at a time. But really, you'll find your own methods. Now, once you think you've got it all worked in and all the spaces are filled, you can see the top is just covered with excess. This is wasted. So you get yourself a brilliant squeegee like this one. This is fantastic, I got from Chem's, and you wipe off the excess. Not so hard that you pull all the grout out of its cracks, but the excess off the top. Really important. Because it's going to save you money, because I've got all this excess I can reuse further down here. So wipe it on, transfer it down. So once I've done that, then I just give it another little rub to smooth off and make sure it's all in its spaces. And then you wait for it to haze over before you start to polish and clean. You can see that you can almost see all that ball chain. I haven't done anything special at all. So now I can just leave that for a little bit. I'll come back in a few minutes and give it another bit of a rub. starts to haze off, hopefully you can see this bit is sort of hazy. You'll see when I rub my hands on it. So now I can just very gently rub over just the top of the tiles to help remove any more excess. Can't see over in that corner, but it's coming off really quite well. The trap for new players, and I fell into this trap every single time, took me ages till I watched Kim's lovely video, is that you can pull too hard and pull the grout out from between your tiles. The aim is to get a nice even coverage across. If you get any dips or bits that are missing, you need to re-grout it or put more grout on it. Don't take it off too soon because that's what will happen. So now I'm just rubbing excess off the top of the tiles. And if I see a tile that's a bit buried, I'll give it a bit of a rub. So you can see once again, I don't actually have to do anything to this ball chain. I think people get, oh my God, it's ball chain, I'm going to have to dig them all out one at a time. Well, see, you don't. And the reason for that is that this is the right size for this mosaic. So the tiles are about between 3 and 4 mil. The ball chain is 4.5, so perfect height. And really it just sort of grouts itself. You can see I've done nothing special to it and it looks fabulous. Now I'm getting the excess around, so there's a little bit of a level change around here. I'm just running the top of my finger across there just to smooth it. That's great. Now I'll do the one beside it before I get my tools out, the serious tools. But I think I'll just do this and then I'll leave it for about an hour. So just giving it a bit of TLC. And it's just like flat hand. There's no digging or rubbing into the spaces. And then we can see how I use the tools. And you can also see how the cleaning of the tiles just happens as you do it as well. Look how shiny they're looking. Oh, that green is just yummy. Oh, it's a mix of green. It's 3 greens in there. And then once you've done that, with this grout, might not be as dramatic with your other grouts, so it'll depend. You need to know your grout. Then we'll wait an hour and we'll come back and I'll show you how I use the cleaning tools. So the next stage in this process, after we've waited the hour or so for it to set, is to do the final clean-up. You don't want to do it too soon because this will still be wet and you'll have a tendency to gouge it out. So I've got this new tool to test out that I got from 19 Mosaics, my favourite tool, which you know all about, and this other little like chisel thing, very handy. So let's just start off and see what we need to do in terms of cleaning up. Clearly I've had some sticky tape left on here by the feel of that. You can feel it, or that could be silicone glue. So we can just scrape that a bit. Or I might wait for that to actually completely dry and then take a razor blade to it. Give it a bit of a rub. You can see it's gone, not that hard. Here's another little bit here. And of course you can look at what's square and what's not square. So this bit here, hopefully you can see it. It's not quite square, so I can just take that off. So this is like a manicure. You can also see that I don't need to do anything at all to the ball chain, just polish it. Here I've got a little bit stuck on. Oh, this is great. This little tool is awesome. It's really good for on top of the little beads. So wherever you've got round things like this, just do a quick eyeball and make sure they are in fact all round and not accidentally buried. So we can just take the edges off. Oh, this is great. Oh, any of you out there who are darling dot freaks like I am, this is great. This is going to be my darling dot cleaner. Here's a little tiny bit to clean out because we know there's a little tile there. Smooth it because it's still really soft with your cloth. So you can see all those little tiny weeny bits. It's definitely going to be the Darling dot cleaner. Oh yeah, what's the other end like? That's like a little scoopy thing. So I guess if you wanted to scoop bits out, you could, but I just really wouldn't be bothered. This is great for those little, oh I love it. Cheryl, this is great. So now the whole purpose of this hour cleanup is to get rid of stuff you don't want to set. So where you need to uncover something, reveal a corner. Here, this bit here. Now these are pitted vitreous tiles, and people can get a bit thingy about the pits filling up. So there's tiny little pits here that have little bits of grout, but you know what, I just don't care about that enough to remove it. It doesn't detract from the mosaic at all. If you want it all shiny and blingy, then you wouldn't choose these tiles. Now I'll just do my dot check. Get my new little dot cleaner. I love it. Cat. In terms of the ball chain, I really did nothing. I just pretended I wasn't there. It all got filled in. I haven't had to scrape anything. They all look fabulous. Perfectly aligned, perfectly spaced, sitting nicely in the grout, sitting nicely in the mosaic. So this is how I do it. And everyone will have a different way about what's right and wrong and what grouts to use. And it comes down to personal preferences and what suits your way of working. This one really suits me because it's quick, it's nice to use, no faffing about. Once you've done your cleanup, which is normally about an hour later, but with Mapei it's like half an hour or so, then remove all your masking off areas to ensure that you remove any unwanted grout. So for instance here, don't do it tomorrow because it'll be a nightmare to clean. Now is the time to do it because you can use a damp cloth to remove it. After it's cured, it's too late. It's just a nightmare. So go clean it all up. Do all these little pieces around here where it was masked off just to make sure it's nice and straight. You can see you'll want to put a mask on for this because there are a few flakes there and you don't want to be breathing them in. And then tomorrow I'll do a final wipe over, leave it for a day or two and then start this 3D component. Exciting stuff.